Uh,
Hi, and welcome back to Jen and Dan's Natural Healing with Plants. I am Jennifer, Master Herbalist and Health Educator, and I'm here with my great friend Dan.
well, thank you, Jennifer. My name is Dan, and I am a master herbalist, exercise specialist, and I think we have a good topic today, don't we, Jennifer?
Indeed, we're doing this one right off the cuff because it's something that is so close to both of us, and sometimes when we those topics pop up and they just really spark something, and I think that sometimes it can come into a heated debate. Sometimes it just lots of energy around this. Anyway, it's why do we get stuck? Why do we not do the work? Like we want to change, we want to make these things happen, but then for some reason there's something else that we're attracted to. For instance, so both of us have a lot of childhood trauma, a lot of things that we are trying to work through. And those things, those can keep you from getting the complete healing, especially like for me, someone with autoimmune disease, sometimes we have to get to the root. And a lot of times people say, well, you have to stop eating gluten and stop eating dairy and you need to do a cleanse and this, that, and those things are great. And sometimes those things really do help people who are new to having something. But sometimes the root it goes so much deeper. And to get to that, we really have to dig deep. And sometimes that involves things like releasing stored trauma, releasing stored emotions. And that's seems to be a lot in the news and around the world. And and anywhere you look, you're seeing more and more about stored trauma. And so a lot of people think that's woo woo or whatever, but I really think that it's true. And I know it's true for me. I teach a cleanse. I have one that starts next week, and I'm not here to promote that. I'm here to tell you about the cleanse because that's really what really changed me and my health. And the way we do it is we start off just with a regular like reset. Like you go through the cleanse and you just do a reset, eating really clean food. So for most people, this wasn't my case, but for most people, just eliminating inflammatory foods for a week or two can make such a big difference. But you go through the cleanse once and you do that. And the next time you go through it, you start adding supplements. And so you do like Dr. Christopher's cleanse, which is what Dane and I have both done. We both are trained in his cleanse. And so you add that and you go a little bit deeper. And each time you go deeper, for me, I get really emotional. I get really emotional. And it's because I have so much stored emotions. I'm one of those people who just bites their tongue, grits their teeth. I've been silenced way too long. And so I think that those things just really they keep us from moving forward. And so I know I need to go deeper. I know I need to do more than another cleanse or another, I've mastered the food. No one can eat better than me. I've mastered the food. I've mastered the cleanse. I've done a million parasite cleanse, but I haven't done the deep trauma work. And I know that's what I need to do. But instead of that, I go, oh, here's another class. I can learn more about brain health. I bet my brain's been affected by all of this too. I should learn about the brain now instead of going to learn about the trauma. And so this is what we were talking about this, and I was like, you know what? That's our topic. Let's hop on the phone. And so, and we're not on phones anymore. I'm so old. Dan, what are you thinking about all this?
Oh, it just makes so much sense, Jennifer. We've it's the trauma, it's the trauma, it's the stuff, the hard stuff, and I don't know if there's anybody in the world that doesn't have some form of trauma, and it holds them back, and it holds them back in so many ways. Like for myself, we're in this field trying to help other people, but I'm in the same boat as you are. I mean, I eat good. I always lift my weights and ride my bicycle. But my emotional trauma, I don't do anything about it because you know what? I don't think that I'm afraid that I can't do anything. I don't know how to let go of these traumas that I have. And I know that there are ways to do it. There's actually a book called The Body Keeps the Score. It's written by a medical doctor. You heard this book? He
Yes.
talks about what we're talking about. He's got techniques to help you, but guess what? I haven't even read it to get to that point because for some reason I'm just not ready. And so when I start feeling stressed out about my business or whatever's going on in my life at the time, one of the things that I do is I'll binge on maybe I like bicycles. So I'll look at bicycles online and imagine about buying this bicycle one day or a guitar, something like that. Anything to distract me from the crap that's going on. Can you relate with what like you're saying with your
Absolutely.
classes?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And
Yes.
so one of the things that we were talking about was, we have clients that do this as well. Like
Oh,
the clients have mastered, everything as far as the food goes and the cleansing and doing the supplements, and they're willing to do more, and they want to keep doing more cleansing and looking more at their food. And you have to step back and go, okay, you've mastered all this. You're dealing with X, Y, and Z. I mean, I can see the pain in your face. I can see the clenched jaws. I can see all of these things. You need to work through these things. So let's work on these things now. And they agree, and they get emotional and they're like, yes, I know I need to work on this, but let's do this cleanse. Let's look more, and they go right back to that. Let's go to this thing here. Have you watched this? What about this doctor? Have you watched his thing? Whatever. And that's not what you need to do. I can see it in you because I can see it in myself. I am the same way. I know I need to dig deeper.
yeah. In some ways, people are mirrors of each other because a lot of us go through similar things in our lives. And
Mm,
obviously, the hardest thing, I mean, the stuff that we do, we teach plant-based diet, we teach herbs, we teach exercise. Most people can do that, but the
mhm.
trauma, facing our fears,
Yes.
that is the hard. It's like you remember, I know we're older, but you do you remember oh my God, what was that movie when we were kids? It was called oh my God. It had
It'll
like
come to you.
the white dragon in it, and it was this kid was reading a book. It was the anyway, the hero in the story, he was at one of his journeys was he came to the swamp. It's called the Swamp of Despair. And so he
Mhm,
was walking through this swamp and he
mhm,
starts to sink in the water. And well, it's like
mhm,
quicksand
mhm.
because he was holding on to trauma. And
Yeah.
if you don't let go of your trauma, you die in this swamp of despair.
Yeah.
And so it's basically all of us like, hey, I know that my health could be a lot better. I mean, I have good health, but my health could be so much better if I could get out of my own despair.
Exactly.
And like we're both professionals at this, and
Mhm.
every client that we get, they all have something they're working through.
Right.
And that's really the main thing that's holding them back,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. The fear that really sits with me.
Yeah.
I know, like, for me, I'm one of those people that blocks. And so, like, if something bad happens, it just somehow I block it from my memory. And so other family members, they tell me stories about things that happened that I didn't remember. And so now I remember them from their stories, but I don't actually remember them. And I'm afraid, there's the fear, if I do the deep work, then I am going to remember those things. And I don't want to remember them. And so it's like, how is there a way? And I don't know. And maybe somebody listening knows, how can you work through it? How can you process the emotions? How can you let everything go without bringing back those memories? Or do you have to, is that going to happen? You know?
That's a good question. And I can see where the fear is because reliving those painful events. Yeah.
Hmm.
Oh God, who wants to do that?
Right.
But if there is somebody listening and they know how to get rid of these traumas, I'd be willing to go through the pain again if there's a good chance that I would be done with it once and for all and get on
Yes.
with my life because it's holding me back.
Yes.
It
That's
holds
right.
me back, you know? And a lot of us, and some of the things we may not even know that is our trauma, but we do things like we take the job that we really don't want to work because we don't feel like we're good enough to get something that we really want to do. We could have a spouse that we aren't really happy with, but we stay there because out of fear again, or we're not worthy of somebody better because we don't think we're good enough. I mean, I've heard it all.
Right.
Everybody has a different trauma.
Mhm.
And that's the thing, man. It's the thing is, there's some guy listening. He says everybody is messed up. It's just that some people are better at hiding it than other people are.
Amen.
So don't think you're alone. None of us are. We're all in this together. Life can be hard, and we're all going to get scarred.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Yeah. I know recently someone I was trying to talk to somebody and they completely cut me off and wouldn't let me talk. And I kept saying, will you please let me talk? And for those of you who know me well, know I don't yell and scream. Um and so I felt myself getting all heated, and all of a sudden the waterworks started and I just started crying. I cried for hours. I cried for hours. This person was still talking to me, still belittling me, still not letting me talk. And I was standing there. Why didn't I get up and walk away? Crying. And I just cried and cried. And afterwards, I still cried. And it's like, I know it's because there's just so much in there that needs to come out. And I was tired of being, cut off, tired of being told to be quiet, you know?
yes.
Yeah. And so, how far back does that go? How deep is that?
Oh, way back, I would think. And it's
Mm.
also you standing there and you feel like you didn't have a voice. I think that's learned behavior because when we were children, if you said anything, you might get murdered. I mean,
Exactly.
seriously, or get beat
Right.
or get beaten really bad.
Right. And,
It's
I've heard a lot. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
yeah, go ahead.
I've heard a lot about that with people with autoimmune thyroid. It's because you haven't been able to use your voice. Hmm. And I know in my own in my business, especially when it comes to marketing and stuff like that, I go to the safe things to say, the things I know I won't get hand slapped for or whatever. It's like if I just play it safe and don't really speak my truth, then everything's safe. And isn't that funny that I'm using the word safe too?
It is funny.
Yeah,
And the reality of this is there really is no such thing as safety. Think about it.
that's
As
true.
long as we're human beings,
Hmm.
sooner or later we're going to face some dangers that we have no control over. So I think that,
Hmm.
and look, we're talking to each other, but we're also talking to our listeners. But I came to the conclusion lately that even if we're scared, because I'm getting sick of being this way. I don't know about you, Jennifer. I'm getting sick
Oh
of
yeah,
holding trauma. It's just like holding me
yeah,
back.
right, right, right. You're not being who you're truly meant to be.
Exactly.
Hmm.
And we do things we don't want to do. I don't know about you, but I have a hard time saying no to anything, even if I want to do it, because I feel like if I say no, then I'm not being a good guy. You know what I mean?
Right, right. Yeah, they're gonna be mad at me. They're not gonna like me. Yeah,
Yeah. Well, that's
yeah.
part of trauma too, is how many people live their life based on what other people might think of them if they do something they want to do. Oh my God, what will my neighbor think? Who cares? They're
Yes,
not living your
yes.
life. You are living your life. You know what I mean?
Right. Well, one of my good coaches, Dr. Michelle Mocart, so shout out to Dr. Michelle Mocart. I hope you're listening. Was you don't have the right to decide what other people think about you. And that struck me. That really struck me because, we're constantly thinking if I tell them this or say that, or, if I put this out there, these people are going to think this. You don't have the right to decide what they're going to think.
That's awesome. That's so good.
Yeah.
And think about this. You just said that. And of course I forgot what I was going to say. But it was related to
You
that.
have the right
But
to say it. You can say
yes.
it.
Yes. But how
Yeah.
many of us are living in quiet desperation?
Mhm.
We're not being the people we want to be. We live in this little prison that we made for ourselves. We're
Right.
not, I mean, I'm I'm pretty happy with some parts of my life, but there's things that I want to do
Mhm.
that I'm not doing because of my trauma. And I'm telling you, I'm going to figure this thing out because I want to move forward in my life, because it could be even better. I
Right,
want to help so many more people. I want to help so many more people before I check out of this planet.
right, right,
But first,
right.
we got to help ourselves get out of this mental mush.
Yes. Yes. And I think we hit on the key there. So I know for both of us, when we work with clients, we're always digging deep. We're looking for the root. It's not going to be just slapping something on. We're not going to give you herbs because you have a stomach ache. We're going to find out why you have the stomach ache. And maybe it's something physical. Maybe it's something that you stored. Maybe your pain is in your stomach. I know we were just talking about that,
Yeah.
feeling it in your stomach, and it might not be related to food. People think it's the food, but it's something that goes a lot deeper. And we have to really get in there. And I know one of my values is integrity. That's one of my values. And I'm not really living in integrity if I'm always hiding who I really am. You know,
Yeah.
it's really, getting out there, being who you are, and using your talents
Yes.
and serving others with your talents and your passion, putting your passion and purpose together. They're so important. And so we really have to, I mean, what kind of weird circle have we gone in today in this talk? But it all comes down to, we do need to release these things. We do have to do the hard work. And that's what's holding people back. We don't want to do the things because we're afraid. But if we're afraid, for me, I can only talk for myself. I'm afraid to do the work. But if I do the work and I do release these emotions and I do the things in spite of my fear, then I may actually become who I'm really supposed to be.
Yes. And that person that you're supposed to be is going to touch the lives of a lot of other people. Because if we say
Mhm.
stuck in our own crap, how many people are we going to leave behind that needed us? Because I really believe that we're
Mhm.
spiritual beings and we're put here for soul missions. And
Mhm.
there's people that we're supposed to help, but we have to get through our own stuff so we can get to them.
Right.
So I've left a lot of people behind so far because I've worked with people, but I'm not out there like I need to be yet. And that is,
Mhm.
it's very
Yes.
urgent. I feel it's very urgent now. I feel it. And
Mhm.
whatever it is that you have, anybody listening, all of us
Mhm.
have special things, special talents we're supposed to share with other people.
Use your
But
talents.
if you're blocked, you got to
Mhm.
figure out what the block is and remove it.
Yes. Yes. Otherwise, maybe it's affecting you financially or in your business right now, but it will start affecting your health. And if
Oh yeah.
you are in poor health, that may be the one key, that one thing that we need to get out of the way.
Oh yeah. I heard that 80% of health problems are related to stress. 80%.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, by the way, the movie is The Never Ending Story, and I
Yeah.
recommend it.
Yes. I can't
I
think of the name
recommend it.
either.
The Swamp of Despair. It is so symbolic. That's what I'm talking about. We had to get out of the swamp of despair.
Yes. 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 Yeah. Well, thank you. I think this was a really great topic. And so for those of you listening, please let us know what you think about this, and let us know what your thoughts are on stored traumas and releasing stored traumas, and how, and stored emotions, and how do stored emotions affect you in your daily life as well. And we want to learn more. Obviously, neither one of us are experts in this. We both want to know more about this. So please let us know. And thank you for joining us today. Subscribe to our channel and share with your friends.